Welcome to our third video. In this video, we'll look at how to develop your keywords and subject terms. So going back to our Pico form, we can see that we already have some ideas for keywords from this form. So we could search for central auditory processing disorder, children, or gaps in noise test. However, it's important to think about other keywords that would bring up relevant search results. We're searching in databases, and the databases are matching our search terms to words in the titles, abstracts, or descriptions, and the subject terms. In PubMed, they're called mesh terms of articles and other sources. In this example, we can see that we searched for central auditory processing disorder in PubMed, and we can see how PubMed has put the words in bold in the search results that it's matched our search terms to. So when we're thinking of search terms, we need to think of words that would appear in the titles, abstracts, or subject terms of articles that contain information about our topic. Remember to use your research log and to add all new search terms that you think of, and then the ones that you end up using. We're looking for articles about central auditory processing disorder, but it might be referred to as something different or a more specific or general aspect of this disorder in other articles. So we want to learn other terms that it might be called so that we can also use those as search terms. A great way to do this is to look in background sources such as medical textbooks or point of care sources. You can find the list of these sources and the links to access them on the Audiology research guide on the background sources page. In this example, you can see that we searched for central auditory processing disorder in Clinical Key and found this article. This article gives a great overview of this topic. It's not a research article, but a review article that explains this topic in detail. The first sentence of the article reads, "The article provides the reader with basic knowledge regarding the measurement tools needed to assess hearing in children." From here, we can click Control F on a PC or Command F on a Mac to search this article for central auditory processing disorder to see where it's mentioned, and then read about it. From this, we can learn more about this disorder in general and find keywords that we might use. Another fantastic place to look are the ASHA evidence maps. They list evidence on different audiology and speech-language pathology topics. When you find studies in these evidence maps, you'll see that they have provided an appraisal of the studies in terms of their quality. This would be an excellent place to look when you get to the appraisal stage of the EAPPE process. Another great place to find keywords is to start searching the article databases using keywords you already have in mind. For example, for this article, we can find other names for the gap in noise test. We could also look at the subject terms assigned to the article. If we look at this article in PubMed, we can see that it was assigned this list of subject terms, this list of mesh terms. This means that it's related to these specific topics, and if you searched one of these mesh, this article would be included in your search results. These mesh terms can also give you great ideas for search terms. The next thing you would want to do is specifically look up subject terms in the database you're searching. In PubMed, the subject terms are called mesh terms or medical subject headings. When an article is added to a database, it's assigned a list of subject terms that the article is related to. This means that if you search a database using subject terms, then you would find all of the sources in that database that are related to that subject. This is very helpful because sometimes you can't think of all of the keywords that your topic might be called. Here we can see that the keyword central auditory processing disorder falls under the mesh term language development disorders. This means that if we search for the mesh term language development disorders, we'll find articles that are related to central auditory processing disorder. However, we'll also find articles related to the other topic listed here, such as speech delay and developmental speech language disorders. So in this case, it's possible that searching using this mesh term might bring us search results that are a little too broad. However, we'll have to try it to find out. So to see what mesh terms are related to your keyword, go to the PubMed homepage and click Mesh Database in the lower right corner. At this point, we're now finding out what mesh terms are related to whatever keywords you type in the search box. So in this example, I found that language development disorder is the correct mesh term for central auditory processing disorder. If I click Add to Search Builder in the upper right corner of the page, I can see that what the mesh term syntax is. The specific syntax, which is usually quotation marks around the mesh term followed by mesh in brackets, is what tells the database to search for your keyword as a mesh term instead of as a keyword. The syntax needs to be exact. So what you want to do is simply copy the syntax from the search builder and then paste it into your research log. Since we're focusing on a diagnostic test for central auditory processing disorder, we can actually click the box next to diagnosis and then click add to search builder. This will be the mesh term that will bring up only articles related to diagnosis of language development disorders, and that's more specifically what we want. So we'll copy that term and add it to our research log. It looks like this. See the bottom right box, language development disorders, diagnosis, / diagnosis, and then mesh in brackets. If we search for child as a mesh term, we'll see a description of what the mesh term encompasses. It reads, a person 6 to 12 years of age. An individual 2 to 5 years old is child, preschool. Since our example is for age 8, this would be the correct term. However, if it was for a different age group, we would need to use a different mesh term. Most databases have some kind of subject terms you can use. In CINAHL, they're called CINAHL subject headings. So to find out what subject heading would be relevant to your term, click CINAHL subject headings in the top menu bar. Then enter your keyword and click Browse, and you'll be brought to a page with different subject headings to choose from. So here we can see that it says Central Auditory Processing Disorder, use auditory perceptual disorders. So it's telling us which one is related to our topic. If we click that box, then we can see a list of subheadings to choose from. Since we want to focus on diagnostic tests, we could use the diagnosis box and click Search Database. Next, we'll see a list of search results that are related to diagnosis of auditory perceptual disorders. This should be a complete list of articles in this database for this topic. We can see that the database has used its own syntax to indicate it's searching for these terms as subject terms instead of keywords. So it says capital MH and then in quotation marks, auditory perceptual disorders / DI. So looking back at this slide, here's a list of relevant mesh terms for our keywords. Notice how some of the keywords, such as the diagnostic test, don't have mesh terms, so we'll just search for them as keywords only.